Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, January 15th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Janine Samuels. Thanks for joining us. The impeachment trial of President Donald Trump is one step closer to starting as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi names the 7 people who will act as the managers in the trial. They are Representatives Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, Hakeem Jeffries, Jason Crow, Zoe Lofgren, Val Demings, and Sylvia Garcia. Their role will be to present the House case on why Trump should be removed from office. Meantime, the House today also passed a resolution to send the impeachment articles to the Senate.
The president is not above the law. He will be held accountable. He has been held accountable. He has been impeached. He's been impeached forever. They can never erase that.
When people are serious about compiling evidence and proving a case, these things take time. That's not what happened this time. House Democrats performed a pale imitation of a real inquiry.
Mr. McConnell has taken to saying that the Senate should only consider the closed record that comes from the House. And as if what the Senate is not a trial but an appeal from a trial. But of course, the Senate, the framers had in mind a real trial with witnesses and evidence. And if McConnell makes this the first trial in history without witnesses, it will be exposed for what it is, and that is an effort to cover up for the president.
The House impeachment managers will present the articles of impeachment to the Secretary of the Senate this evening.
2 grassroots organizations, Every Town for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action, are in Annapolis demanding passage of House Bill 4. The measure would require background checks on all long gun sales in the state. Members of the organizations were joined by survivors of gun violence and policy experts in testifying in support of the bill, which they say will make it harder for convicted felons and domestic abusers to get weapons online or at gun shows.
100 Americans are murdered every day with gun violence, but that doesn't count the people who are injured, their families and friends and loved ones who are injured and broken and grieving the loss of these wonderful Americans. And I'm here to hope that stops.
And Julie McNamara is the widow of John McNamara, one of the 5 people killed in the Capitol Gazette shooting.
Maryland Attorney General Brian Frost has announced legislation aimed at eliminating fee-based driver's license suspension. Under current law, Marylanders who get traffic tickets and fail to pay the fine on time can have their licenses suspended. Frost's measure would put the brakes on that penalty. He says terminating someone's driving privilege could cost them their jobs and impose severe financial hardships.
The bill will go into effect and immediately allow everybody whose licenses have been suspended to get reinstated. So we have an accumulation of tens of thousands of people who've lost their privilege to drive because they have been unable to pay the fines and fees that have accumulated as a result of sometimes very trivial traffic violations.
Frost says there are currently tens of thousands of Marylanders whose licenses are suspended because they've been unable to pay the fine.
2 adults escape a house fire in Lanham. Firefighters responded to the 6500 block of 99th Place around 6 p.m. last night. When crews arrived, they found heavy smoke coming from the home. Thankfully, the house had a working smoke alarm. The Office of Emergency Management is assisting the displaced residents.